call the regular meeting of Board of Trustees at East Dundee, July 21st to order. Go ahead, do roll call.
Trustee Saviano.
Here.
Trustee Kunze. Present. Trustee Mahoney.
Here.
Trustee Oakland.
Here.
Trustee Guma. Here. Trustee Sauter.
Here.
And President Pearson.
Here. Do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Name tag. I guess everybody knows what it is. All right, do we have anything for public comment?
I didn't receive any.
Okay, anybody here for public comment? No? All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda excluding C, correct?
No, you can
We can-
include it.
we can
Unless someone
include
wants
it?
to pull it off, you just need 5 votes
Okay.
instead of 4.
President Pearson.
I think there were some people here for public comment.
Yep, okay. Come on up.
That what?
What's your name and address, please?
My name is Jamie Mueller, owner of Rosie O'Hare's Public House in East Dundee on Water Street. Hi, it just came to my attention, which I had no idea because I don't vote in town because I don't live here, that with our gaming machines, if we sell our business, that we're not going to be able to have as many machines that we have now. We have 5. I know we're able to have 6, and we're grandfathered in. But when we go to sell, that's a huge selling point for us to have those machines. And I don't understand why. I mean, I don't know. Someone's going to have to update me on what happened. I didn't even know about it.
Okay.
So that's why I'm here, because, I mean, we bring in a lot of revenue for the town, and to me, it's like, when I go to sell, it's going to be, that to me is a selling point. And now we don't have that, which I didn't know until, last week or so.
Okay.
So that's where I'm concerned.
Exactly.
Okay, so Fred's here as well.
All right. Thank you. Fred, did you want to talk?
I was going to say that.
Okay. You're here to echo it. Anybody else then? Mike?
Hi, my name is Mike Morrison. I am the operations manager for Zambonis, opening up hopefully soon. Part of the issue with what was just brought up by Jamie and seconded by Fred is not only the change in the amount of games, but also a waiting period of 6 months for the sale of a business. The owners of Zambonis are sitting with me now. They specifically purchased Tartan Axe Throwing business identity so that they would have the gaming license. That is another ordinance that was changed, not just the amount of games per square footage, but also a 6-month waiting period. There are background checks through the FBI for having a gaming license. Liquor licenses and gaming licenses aren't just handed out willy-nilly. If there's a 6-month waiting period, I'd like that to be discussed later in the meeting too. I'd like that to be voted on, as well as the number of machines per square footage.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, Bill Schmidt, 252 Fallbrook Court. I'm curious why you guys changed it, because they're all sitting there talking about it, and I don't know anything about it, and
Right.
so maybe you can explain.
When we get to it, we'll talk more about it. Anybody else for open comment? Public comment? No? All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
I will move to approve the regular village board meeting minutes dated June 16th, 2025, and special village board meeting minutes dated July 7th, 2025. I will also move to accept the warrants list in the amount of $800,615 and $800,615.60 and $801,860.93. Motion to approve a resolution accepting a bid and approving procurement of construction engineering services for the Summit Avenue Street Improvement Project by Lamp Concrete Contractors, Inc. I will also move to approve a resolution waiving bidding requirements and approving the procurement of professional engineering services for the standpipe rehabilitation and painting project located at well number 3, with Baxter and Woodman Consulting Engineers in the amount not to exceed $96,600. And I will move to approve an ordinance amending Chapter 73 of the Village Code regarding the use of non-highway vehicles.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion? You want to do a roll call? Sure.
Can I ask a real quick question? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
The motion is for construction engineering services, but it's for actual construction of the project. I'm not sure something changed.
Which item is that? C?
This would be the Summit Avenue Storm Sewer Project.
C?
Yeah, C.
It's for accepting a bid
Yeah,
and approving procurement of construction engineering services.
which the construction engineering services was previously approved. So, that's worth mentioning. Would you like to cover that?
You know anything about that?
Done earlier this year.
That's correct? Okay. So just amending the wording in item C, striking
Yeah.
procurement of the engineering services?
So it's just procurement of construction services, not construction engineering services.
So do you have to amend C?
You in agreement with
Got
that,
it.
Erica?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I will amend my motion to strike approving procurement of construction engineering services from item C.
And I will amend my second.
Okay. Trustee Saviano,
Yes.
trustee Kunzi,
Yes.
trustee Mahoney,
Yes.
trustee Oakland,
Yes.
trustee Kuma,
Yes.
trustee Sauter.
Yes. Okay, that moves on to other agenda items.
I'll move to approve a resolution waiving bidding requirements and approving procurement of lead service line construction and replacement by IHC Construction Companies LLC in the amount not to exceed $508,546 for the 2025 lead service line replacement project. Second.
Any discussion?
Is this starting this year or next year? This year.
You want to give some background on that?
Can, good evening.
Just for sake of transparency?
Sure.
Thanks.
So presented to you this evening is a recommendation to waive competitive bids to construct, essentially replace 36 lead service lines in the community. The location map is presented in the packet. Staff is recommending waiving competitive bids based on a number, and I'll kind of touch on some of the reasons why, but based on the following. The Village of West Dundee recently solicited competitive bids for their lead service line replacement project. And that was back in April, May. We took a look at Baxter Woodman, who is also consultant for West Dundee, is also our consultant on the project. And we took a look at their competitive bids and recognizing that there were only 2 bidders on the project. The low bidder was substantially lower compared to the high bidder. Recognizing that there may be, if this is any indication of the bidding climate, we discussed reaching out directly with the contractor who was awarded the contract in West Dundee, asking if they would extend their unit prices to East Dundee, which they couldn't match it dollar for dollar, but what they did was provided us with a proposal similar. Some of the unit prices went up, some went down, but generally speaking, there was a slight increase for our unit prices overall compared to theirs per lead service line. Recognizing that this was an opportunity to leverage the unit pricing that West Dundee received, Baxter Woodman had provided an opinion of probable construction cost of $550,000. The pricing that we got from received from IHC came in under that amount. And we've also recognized some opportunities to reduce that even further based on our actual project. IHC they're a local contractor, and they're performing 224 lead service line replacements in West Dundee and could easily accommodate our project this year. We have a street improvement project that's forthcoming on 2nd and Adams, and they were able to meet our timeline for replacing lead services ahead of that street improvement project. And so all things considered, it's not ideal to recommend a waiver of bids on a project this size, but recognizing that the uncertainty in the bidding climate and based on our bid process would have closely followed West Dundee's this year, felt it was an opportunity to solicit pricing and recommend a waiver of bids in this case.
Thank you.
A question about Summit. We're redoing the street on Summit. Are there any lead service lines on there that we would
There
need
are
to
not,
address?
no,
Okay.
no lead services on Summit, no.
Are there any lead lines in the terrace at all?
So basically, if we, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just asking you, are there any lead lines in the terrace at all? Or
There may be in
there
the
are some?
terrace, yes.
So, completely lost my train of thought here. Anybody else have any other questions? I'll try and put myself together.
No, I was just gonna clarify, I keep hearing Phil say we're waiving competitive bidding, but we're utilizing West Dundee's bid unit pricing with some slight deviations, which was extremely competitive, so, just for transparency.
And now I'm back. I got my train of thought. So a bid process like this would take like 3 months, right? And 2 to 3 months?
The bid process itself could take, we would typically advertise and solicit bids over a
Right.
3-week period-ish.
Okay,
So the time to prepare the specifications and documents, advertise and go out to bid, the process itself would be about 3 weeks to a month.
okay.
And then the time it would take to present to you all.
And then the time to get them back is included in that 3 weeks or 4 weeks?
To get them back, sorry.
To get the bids back from anybody else that would be.
Typically a 3-week, give or take period of time to, between
Inclusive.
advertising and receiving and opening
Okay.
bids, yes.
Well, I think you've laid out, in my opinion, laid out a pretty good reason to just move forward. In my business, I'm looking at prices just going up because of tariffs and across the board. So, so based on the due diligence that West Dundee did and piggybacking on that, and kind of getting a group rate on a very competitive bid that they already know I'm in favor of.
And if you average out, the cost per lead service
Mhm.
is very much in line with what the industry, the region has seen for the replacement of lead service lines, in that $12,000 to $15,000 range. I spoke with Elgin 4 years ago, and they estimated their per service line cost is about approximately $15,000.
Okay.
So we're less than that for this particular project. We anticipate being well under that for this project.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else?
Trustee Saviano?
Yes.
Trustee Kunzi?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Oakland?
Yes.
Trustee Guma?
Yes.
Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to other items. We have B. I'll entertain
Make a motion. Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve a resolution waiving bidding requirements and approving procurement of professional engineering services for the construction engineering services for the 2025 lead service line replacement project by Baxter and Woodman, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $49,000.
Is this the same thing
Second.
as before?
Construction
Yep.
engineering services.
Yep.
Same
Okay.
project.
Okay.
Okay.
So essentially, we're hiring Baxter Woodman to oversee this project?
That is correct, yes, the construction phase, yes.
We're gonna have to hire them every year then for every phase we do of this?
Yes, we would need some construction oversight for this project.
Question,
We don't have the ability and the staffing in-house to oversee a project like this.
that was
Yes.
my question. Our public works can't oversee this?
We don't have the staffing capability, the time to, each residential location will involve coordinating with the homeowner, a shut-off that meets their timeline, ensuring that the connection at the main is done properly, the connection inside the home is made properly and inspected by a licensed plumber, and just the coordination and ensuring that the reporting, we as staff want to issue permits not at any cost to the resident, but just for documentation purposes. So there's a process that we just, our current staffing level could not perform the construction oversight of this project.
All right, anything else? Nope. Okay, trustee Saviano?
Yes.
Trustee Kunzi?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Oakland?
Yes.
Trustee Guma?
Yes.
Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to C, we have a discussion and direction for the paid versus free access of village-owned electrical charging station at the garage. Any comments, thoughts?
I'd like a presentation on this, again, for transparency.
You'd like what?
A presentation on this, a recap of this, for the sake of transparency.
Sure. Would you like me to? Sure.
Go for it.
So, we don't have any pictures provided in the packet for this agenda item today, but in part of the overall scope of the parking garage, one of the goals was to put up an electric vehicle charging station. We went ahead and contracted with Lauderdale Electric to have that as part of the overall process. The 2 EV chargers are located at the surface parking lot of the garage, and they went live, I think, mid to late May so about 6 weeks ago. And they are wrapped into the meter and the garage that also services the lights. The purpose of today's discussion for the board is, ever since it went live, it's been free of charge. We've attached the data usage and the approximate cost, the annual fee, and the energy used from that, which is also provided in the packet. And staff is hoping to get a direction on the board as they see fit, whether to continue it as free, implement it charge now, implement charge at a later date, or whatever the board sees fit. In the packet, there was attachments of what other municipalities have been doing, as well as the best practices from Blink. Blink is the name of the charger port. So we're opening it up to the board for discussion.
So, can I ask a question? Do we own these chargers, or does
Yes.
Blink own these chargers?
No, we own them we bought them through Blink's dealer called Gray Bar. And
So they are, though, providing the electronics for
the network, yeah, so the back end,
And
the
that's not-
Wi-Fi
on a fee structure of $500 a year, whatever.
for the
it was.
network, yeah.
What do we pay for the chargers?
I don't have that information in front of me right now, but I can provide it to you.
Have they been used at all yet?
There has been usage, yes.
There's a list of all the uses that have been done in the last 6 weeks in the packet.
I didn't even see that.
Oh, it's this,
I-
on page 474.
I think we should charge. It seems that from what I've done research on, that free chargers are a thing of the past, basically. And I also feel like if we don't charge, residents are going to feel like we're not subsidizing people driving gas cars. Why are we subsidizing people that are driving electric cars? We have costs that are going to be involved in these machines, not only the yearly fee, but if we own them, they are probably going to need to be maintained. Maybe even upgraded, replaced in the future. So I think, it makes sense to offset those costs that the village is paying. Now, the amount, are these level 2 chargers? Okay. I mean, the amount, I guess, is up for debate. I guess I would start at 40 cents a kilowatt hour, personally. According to Blink, it goes anywhere from 30 to 50, right? So
Yeah, 29's part of that,
I
right?
think right in the middle is 40. And we can see if that produces enough to cover, what you have. I also think we should consider charging a fee of some sort for if people go past, if somebody's there, well, I understand that it's 4 hours.
No, you're saying fee past the 4 hours
Well,
to disincentive.
if somebody plugs in and then they're done charging in 2 hours,
Right.
we don't want them sitting there in a charging spot that somebody else could be using. So I think it might make sense to charge per hour after you're done charging to encourage people. I feel like these cars are so smart that they tell you on your phone or something when you're fully charged. I don't know, maybe they don't.
Maybe the charger tells
I
you.
believe so.
Yeah, well,
You can put in a
yeah, put
your
in
cell
your
phone
what are you
number,
doing?
it
Yeah.
texts you when it's done.
I believe that capability is there.
Yeah, you know, maybe it's $5 an hour after the first hour that you are there without it.
How do you regulate that though? That's the problem.
What do you mean regular?
How do we know if there's somebody sitting there or not? And
Well,
not
because
doing
it's, the machine will read it. The machine will know when they're fully charged, and it'll start a timer and say, oh, you've been here an hour now, fully charged, using
if
this
they're still
charger
plugged
that
in.
somebody else could be using.
it? So after 4 hours.
4 hours is what we are saying is the limit that a person can park there at all.
Park
Which-
in the parking lot, all of the parking lot.
Really?
Is
In the
that
parking
right?
garage, 4 hour limit?
No,
No,
Or
no,
is
just
it
the
4 hour on
two-
the, on
the two
the,
evening
I just
spots.
wanna make that clear, yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know.
So it
We're
sounds
not
like,
gonna be chalking people's tires, I don't think.
Right.
no.
Right, no.
So it sounds like 40 cents per kilowatt hour. And then you were looking at once a vehicle reaches its capacity, to start charging per hour after that, $5 per hour.
I mean, that's the thought.
Okay.
So I got a kind of electric car, so it was like one of the first ones that came out, the Volt. And after it runs out of electric, it goes on gas. I know when I bought my parking downtown, when I worked downtown, the number one reason I chose that garage was they had a free charging station, because I wanted to use it. I'm trying to do the math in my head. So ours is 16 kilowatts, it gets about 40 miles out of that. So if you start doing the math, it's not really the best deal. And I think ours is probably more efficient than most of the more, I would say, high-performance ones that we're seeing nowadays. So I would just think not too many people would use it at that point. So, and another thought I had is if we have a nice business downtown, somebody might come in and say, hey, I like that I can charge my car for free. I'm gonna go to this business downtown and have a drink. It might be an incentive for them to use it. So I do understand the maintenance costs, because I know ours we've had for 10 years and nothing's broke on it. But our level 2 charger doesn't charge all that quickly. So, and I'm looking at these and they're only like 16 kilowatts. So like, they're not like a Rivian's like 300, some of them. So I can understand at that point, that'd be a huge fee for us to incur. But if it's only filling up 16 kilowatts per hour, like I just, to me, it's 40 miles I would get from sitting there for $4+. I don't know if I would even do it. So I would want people to use it, right? Because we bought it. And then is there a cost incurred by staff to have to go over the cost of using this?
Is there a billing feature?
Yeah, like would it-
integral to the?
Right, would we have to be paying staff to keep up with the cost
We'll
of
be
charging
paying-
people?
We'll be paying Blink 9%, I believe it is.
Yeah, 8%.
8% of whatever
Of our
we
revenue.
collect will go to Blink. And they will then keep track of all this for us, right? Is that what we're saying?
I'm assigned a representative, and that person would work with me, and I could go in the back end and update the rates structure, whatever I want, and I can monitor it and work with them.
But they're handling all the billing and all that.
They handle the billing and
Yeah.
setting it to us, ACH.
Would it be an app or is it a credit card?
I think it's an app. Yeah,
So
and it might
another
be a credit
downloadable
card as
app.
well, if I remember.
Because I know a lot of people are getting kind of sick of downloading an app for everything they do nowadays
They,
too.
they recently, I think this week, sent us an email that they are moving from just their single app to all the apps that accept multiple different brands.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Well, conceptually, I believe that we should be charging it, because I would love to be subsidized on my gasoline powered car by the village, but I would never ask, the residents to do that.
Sure.
I think we're a bit early in the usage. We've got 7 weeks of data.
Right.
It's not really well known. We don't really know what's going on with, how well known it's going to be out there that there is
Right.
a charger. We've got the summer event season just starting up. So I'm not sure if understanding like what a kilowatt costs us to pay for, and then and plussing it up some for the charge. For the maintenance, of the product, and any kind of staff time that is going to be incurred as well to kind of cover that. But I'm here or there and could go with the rest of the consensus as far as beyond a full charge, what would be charging. My understanding is and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the charging terminal knows how long it's connected to that car.
It does.
So it can easily determine the downtime when it wasn't charging after it was fully charged.
Yeah, I believe that's a capability. It's actually pretty intuitive.
Right. Okay. So that's my point of view on this.
I was thinking keep it free for longer also, just to get more time and data on it so that we can, I think, charge something a little more accurate.
Take another look at it maybe in September or October. September's right around the corner. End of the year, I don't know.
End of the year, I was kind of thinking through this year, just keep
That
it
way
free
we have-
and then start fresh with.
We'd have 6 months of data.
Is it 10 cents a kilowatt hour is the cost? I'm not quite sure
To us.
where that figure is, but I think it's about 10. I mean, if we want to sample out what kind of issues do we have with billing, could start at very low, like 20 cents, like cheaper than any others that are out there, and when we work out the bugs of figuring out payment, but have it set super low if we do want to do that, or I'm okay with extending it if we go that direction.
Right?
I 100% agree with Trustee Coonsey. I think we're gonna have maintenance, we've already paid for the stations, nobody's paying for subsidized gas, so I think we should start charging and start getting some more money back.
I agree.
Then I would say start low, and then when we get better figures, we can up it. But I'd hate to start high.
The state of Illinois is looking right now, because of all the electric vehicles that are using our roadways and not paying all the sales tax. We have sales tax on our gas here, so we're charging people driving through. Why shouldn't we charge the people here? Now, speaking with a few people, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to these vehicles, but speaking with a few, they said, well, if it's free charge, I'll just sit on it and park here for a while. The longest one that I saw was just over 4 hours, 4 hours and 20 minutes. So my thought is people aren't just gonna come here and park their car and leave it here for 8 hours unless it's for free. Most of them are probably gonna charge their car enough to get home, is what I would think, so they can plug it in. So my thought is we start off low, but, we should charge for it. But there's no reason to be taxing people on gas and when we're not taxing them on charging their vehicles. That's my thought.
I'm good with that.
So do we need a vote for this?
I do think something that we want to consider over the next, if we're going to revisit it, which it sounds like we're going to do, is kind of better understand, what else is around that is also convenient and what they're charging close by.
Yeah.
And just so we have an understanding of what the radius is to another charging station.
Yeah, I saw on plugshare.com that Elgin was the closest municipal one. There was hospitals and then dealerships and
Right.
gas stations.
Okay,
So I'm just trying to balance what is comparable to a municipal.
I gotcha.
What was the cost on the
I
gas
can't
stations?
remember. I'll have to take a look.
Yeah, maybe if we can get a better survey of like what the average cost is,
Sure.
just so we're not like gouging people. But I also think, as much as I don't want to try and add on another charge for time spent plugged in after it's been charged, it is a convenience that is meant for everyone coming through the village, and to have somebody kind of just,
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly implement, we have the ordinance that states after 4 hours, that's your max for an EV parking. We could implement the $5 charge after that 4 hours
Mhm.
as a penalty for the
Yeah.
ordinance violation, if you will.
But that's something we could look at later too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are just your options.
So is this something we're just gonna revisit and
Um,
include, or
Well,
can we vote on
We
it?
have to,
We do-
we can't vote on it.
So it's
This
only
is just
discussion, not
discussion,
vote.
so I,
If
What-
staff wants to bring an ordinance to charge for, what do we think?
I
What's a
think
low amount,
I say
10
20,
cents?
let's do 20 cents and see where it goes from there, still low.
I think we just come
Fine with
back
that.
in November with the data and the information that we've just requested right now, and I think we can have a healthy discussion with,
Are you guys all for?
if you want it.
charging?
We do sooner than November?
Yeah, what's wrong with October?
Schedule's pretty full until,
Is it?
yeah, we got budget coming up. I mean,
Mm.
I would say, pick a side, either 20 cents now and we'll look at it in January, or nothing now and we'll look at it in January. Then we can free up the rest of the year to talk about 25 other things we have on the schedule.
Mm.
What do you guys think?
I think 40 cents personally, but
I say 20 now and we'll get it in January.
20 now and look at it in
Yeah,
January.
20 now.
Yeah.
That seems
Okay.
to be
Let's
the-
do 20.
Start low in case there's issues
Yep.
with it, and then we can always revisit.
All right, we have a plan and we'll come back in
Where
January.
it at?
Well, is that when we're gonna vote on it in January, you're saying?
It's just policy direction to staff, so we'll implement it
Oh.
and then we'll return.
We don't need an ordinance.
All right,
for this.
moving on
Okay.
to D, the discussion regarding the possible future redesign of Railroad Street. We have a
Several.
presentation on that?
Yes, we do. So Phil's gonna lead the discussion on this, but as you know, we acquired the gravel lot and now converted it into the grassy lot. And as we look to add amenities to that Depot Park area, we have White and Company coming next month to talk about the soundstage and the other amenities. So it makes sense for us to talk about this at this point, because if we want to do something this year, we can, and it would add additional street parking, and also, there's a lot of discussion at the Community Events and Depot Committee about the special events that we have, Wine on Wednesday, Thursday, and this year we did repositioning of the stage and closed off a different street. But Phil will talk about what sort of additional options will present themselves if we do close down that center lane, and how it gives us some flexibility to close down either River or Meyer for a special event versus both. So, take it away, Phil.
All right, thank you. So in the packet this evening, there's 4 options essentially that are presented for discussion. Option 1 would be the status quo, keeping Railroad Street open to vehicular traffic. Some benefits and challenges there. Option 2 is staff's recommendation, and that is to close Railroad Street between Meyer and River Street permanently. This would allow us, one opportunity would be to create additional angled parking both on the Meyer side and on the River Street side, and then convert what's currently Railroad Street to a grassy green space. Essentially connecting the South Depot lawn to the newly sodded grassy lot. We would, of course, continue the bike trail parallel to Meyer Street, and then the sidewalk system on the east side would be to be determined. And that would, whatever happens on the east side would kind of fold in with the, as Erica had mentioned, what White and Company's is the concepts that they're working up for us, for the soundstage and the green space in general. Option number 3 would be to install bollards that could be installed, removable bollards that would involve potentially a temporary closure of Railroad Street. And that would allow Railroad Street to remain open outside of special events, and it would be closed temporarily during special or other events. And these bollards would be rated to ideally prevent a vehicle from driving through or between them. Some benefits here, let's see, solar powered. There was also some talk about if there's such a thing as a solar powered bollard, kind of a traffic rated bollard, that might be something to explore for these as well. But we'd have to obviously have some, whether it's a solar powered or electricity provided to each bollard location. And then the fourth option, something that can be discussed further down the road, would be to close, again, Railroad Street between Maya and River, but then also close Railroad between 3rd and Meyer, allowing for the possible extension of the redevelopment of the lumberyard up to, we'll say, the north right-of-way adjacent to Tequila Valves.
So can you stay on that slide for a second?
Yeah.
So when White and Company comes to present their analysis of the South Depot park space, it's anticipated that the soundstage is not going to go sort of at the most southern end. It's going to go probably somewhere in the mid-range. And so that's why having the continuous green space down the middle allows for more people to gather in front of the stage versus if you leave that sort of hardscape in the middle, you know, will still allow people to use it, but it just won't be as functional.
Why is that? Like, it would be that far towards the center, not towards the end.
It's because, see how much it narrows as you get further south?
Yeah.
There's like not enough space.
So if we picked up extra spots, could we possibly eliminate some spots on that south end there to push that stage farther south?
That was one of the thoughts, is to possibly consume the angle parking here.
Yeah.
The idea, this could come down probably a little bit compared to where it's drawn here, but the thought is to have some type of a turnaround or a drop off for if someone's utilizing it for a wedding or a band setting up and breaking down, they could park their vehicles on the south side of the stage.
Loading area.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah,
loading
okay.
area. On the south side of the stage, there may also be consideration for some bathrooms, maybe kind of a storage, multi-purpose storage room, changing room. We envision,
So talking with some businesses downtown, their concern was how they set up right now on Meyer Street and River Street. We're putting the food way back from where the actual stage is. So going off of the people that we have now, they'll be filling in that south side, but the in front of the businesses are gonna be empty. So I was talking to Erica about potentially building the soundstage further north, even as I look at it now, maybe where we wanna shut down the road and put it there, so we can still do all of our wind down Wednesdays, Thursdays, and if people wanna rent, for a wedding, they can even do it on this side too, and it'll be kind of like a see-through stage. So we can actually have the stage go from the back side or from the north side, just another option.
it's an interesting, kind of a two-sided soundstage that can be, yeah, it's interesting. Something that personally I hadn't considered, but
We gotta consider a lot of our older people, we don't want them walking so far trying to get a drink or going to the bathroom, getting food.
Well,
That's
I
a
mean,
long walk.
All
especially-
of those food vendors are temporarily set
Yeah.
up. They can always be moved
Yes,
closer to the sound stage. I mean, that's-
just like we rearranged everything this year
Right.
to accommodate, we can
But I
do the
understand
same
what you're
thing
saying,
there.
but
I think we're just condensing everything in just really tight instead of just how it's, people can set up in the streets too right now, and that's what they're doing, especially with handicap. They're not crawling or wheeling down in the grass. They're on the street sides, and the sidewalks. That's
So-
my thought.
So, event-wise, right now, we have Railroad and Meyer open. for Wine on Wednesday, Thursdays. It's already a part of Motor Mondays. We have it closed down to vehicular traffic between Railroad and Barrington. So, thinking about traffic flow, with this additional space for lawn space and lawn seating and that kind of thing, would we then consider, once this is done, opening up one or two of the streets so that we have the flow of traffic and for older people and drop-offs and kids and
ADA parking.
ADA parking, that kind of thing? Was that kind of the thought process, or have
Yes.
we? Yeah,
So
okay.
with this, you could have the flexibility to close both sides of Meyer and leave River flowing both directions. You could close down just one side of Meyer, just the other side of Meyer, and it could be rotated so that, you know, it wasn't always the same businesses impacted with the closure, and provides that flexibility.
Would River be closed too?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Per event, we could rotate which closure we're making so that if certain businesses wanted to have, you know, say the Premier Access in front of their business, we could close it in front of River Street one time, close it in front of Meyer Street one time, or, you know, close the whole stretch of Meyer one day, close the whole stretch of River one day. But basically, if you leave the middle of it unobstructed, it gives you the ability to double your space, either on one side or the other, while leaving an entire lane open. So right now, we're closing both River and Meyer and eliminating any through
But Railroad is still open.
the railroads.
Yeah. So I love the idea of creating like a really long greenway from, you know, the depot, the south of the depot building all the way down to the end of the new green lot.
And we think the white team will come up with some really neat concepts
Yeah.
for the entire corridor.
Right.
This obviously is just recognizing it as green space, but we think White will have a
Right.
nice plan, or
I
proposed
know,
plan.
yeah, I know, like, with the markets and being downtown, the depot market and I was down there, on Sunday too for the artisan market. It is, even when you're awake and filled with coffee, kind of one of those things where you can really get involved and not realize that you are, crossing a roadway with traffic on it, and I can only imagine once there's fun and hilarity and some alcohol involved that, you know, keeping this a lot closed and safe is the right thing. Whether it's a greenway or whether it's bollards, I'm kind of undecided, but I like the idea of limiting the access, especially during events, and then figuring out the traffic patterns depending upon what the events are.
I like the idea, I agree with Dan. I was thinking that it was too far south, the stage. I like the idea of putting it where he said, like, so it's in between where the depot is now and then the grassy knoll, I call it, but.
We'll save money on the grass.
And the see-through stage, yeah, I don't wanna like shoot ourselves in the foot by only having it on one, and then it's because the bottleneck over there, where we have all that other space we've been using for years for events. I think it should be in the middle.
Yeah, as you may recall, we did remove this tree here a couple of weeks back. This tree here is showing significant decline. We've had an arborist, Davy Tree, out looking at it recently, and it's
Well, either way, it'll probably have to go anyway.
it's likely going to have to be removed at some point. So the visibility here for any type of stage in that area opens that up. We may plant more trees, but they'll take time to develop and establish themselves, mature.
And I mean, as far as citing the stage itself, I'm open to see what the professionals are doing. You know, I have a kind of a,
Same
you know,
Same here. And I'm kind of seeing how this redevelopment goes there too. It's kind of how my mind's going. I like how it gives us a little more area for that commercial residential redevelopment there, which is prime real estate. And depending on what goes in there, might be new businesses coming too, they might benefit from this, so.
And that could be, this space through here can be a nice conduit as we continue to expand our riverfront. And we perhaps utilize Railroad Street all the way down to Water Street, kind of as a, more of a pedestrian conduit. Bikes, walk, pedestrians, yeah, bikes, walkers.
As opposed to Barrington, which has a lot more traffic.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, naturally.
And we were informed last week that the kayak launch project is set to begin any day now. So that will have a presence here on Water Street before, along the river before too long. So it just adds more to the,
Yep.
What else do you need from us?
Well, it sounds like everybody is mostly on board with closing
Closing it down.
railroad.
Real quick,
Yes.
I'd just like to weigh in.
Sorry.
I liked your idea. I hadn't thought of that, but I think in the middle there, see-through, you could do either side. I think that would work well.
What, are we saying yes to closing down Railroad Street like that and extending that proposal to the restaurant?
I think what we're asking for tonight is just the piece between Meyer and River. The other piece that extends to Third, we don't really need to decide that tonight. The proposed developer for that space is coming to the next meeting, so we can talk about what other concepts there might be there. But for planning purposes, it would help us to determine if we should think about adding the parking spaces. And
Would
then
you
we can talk about the stage placement
maybe
at a later date.
float that idea to them just to see their input of how they feel about that? If they feel like they could utilize that and make something, or if they feel like they'd rather have that road?
Yeah, I think there's some logistical challenges of the topography, being that it slopes pretty steep. It's about a 6-foot grade from where the trail is to the bottom of the lumberyard.
Right,
And
but
so there's some creative ideas on how to manipulate that space to make it more pedestrian oriented.
but that's on the Meyer side of the road, or the depot side of the road. I'm talking about railroad getting closed and that development moving into railroad.
Yes, I think that I can float that by.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what he thinks about that.
We only have three streets that go east-west. I'm just saying. You're gonna close down Railroad, and we only have 2 that are gonna go east-west.
Right.
You got River. That's more south.
You have Jackson, Hill,
Barrington.
and Barrington,
Mm-hmm.
if we close railroad,
Yeah, there's 5 in a row there.
Barrington.
not including 72.
Well,
Yeah.
we can discuss that later too. so.
Right.
I
Yeah,
like,
this isn't a motion, we're
Yes,
just
we're gonna,
talking.
I think
So-
we're all in agreement to shut it.
Is the consensus is to make it green space?
Or the consensus is
Or
to
a
start
stage.
looking at options for closing it and adding the parking instead of leaving the bollards.
we'll present that to White and ask if they can come up with a concept that would incorporate the stage on Railroad Street.
Okay.
yeah, and I like the grass more than bollards. People on bikes do tend to hit those and flip over on their bikes, and I don't think
Yeah.
we'd need to take it down and have that thoroughfare. We have a lot of other access points to get through. And then I'd want to wait and hear from the stage company, their recommendations, because it does seem like if we put it in the middle, now everything is really only on half, and do you put all the food vendors below because the concert's above? It does seem like an event planner should weigh in on that, because I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, just even like with the weekend markets,
Yeah.
all of the prime spots are south of the depot. North of the depot doesn't get a whole lot of interest or attention because they feel like they're out of the mix. So we're looking for a solution from the stage planners and park planners. I think that they might have a better idea of how to overcome that. depending on where the placement ends up being.
Okay.
I just think we should cater more towards what's gonna be generating money for the village as opposed to the Saturdays don't really generate very much money for the village, you know? The Thirsty Thursday is what the wind down.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Working on it
Ryan.
Saturday.
We are.
Ryan's gone home.
All right. All right, so you got direction.
Yes, thank you.
All right. We're moving to E. I'll entertain a motion for E.
I will move to approve a resolution authorizing the village administrator to enter into an agreement with EPS Environmental Services to perform environmental testing in an amount not to exceed $127,200.
Second.
And this is for figuring out what's in Hager, so we can potentially tear it down ourselves. Okay?
I don't think that was the purpose of
No?
this.
No.
But the purpose of this is that the village conducted a phase one.
Oh,
and
that's right.
phase two light, we call it, which informed sort of decision-making a year ago. This is the next step in terms of information gathering of the extent of the soil contamination and water contamination that exists
Right.
underneath the building. So once we are able to conduct this testing and get the results back, then we can have more information as to how much it may cost at some point in time for anyone to demolish the structure, remediate the soil, and remove the hazards. So it is timely, relevant, and we should have results back in 3 months.
Any discussion? Questions?
Nope.
Trustee Saviano?
Yes.
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Oakland?
Yes.
Trustee Guma?
Yes.
Trustee Stoddard?
Yes.
Okay, now the discussion regarding the security fences around Hager.
So as you know, it's been very difficult to secure this site. We continue to have problems with people breaking in, starting fires, doing things they're not supposed to be doing. It remains difficult because the way that the building is positioned and the many access points, we've tried and failed numerous times to put up various types of barriers to entry, and it's still just a drop of water in a large puddle. So the next thing we're recommending is to put a fence up around it, and we propose some ideas for some ways to make it slightly nicer looking than chain link. So what I'm looking for tonight is, do we want to put a fence up or not? And if so, do we want to screen it or not? And then the proposal that's in the packet is just one proposal to get a conceptual idea of how much it might cost. If you give direction to do a fence and or screening, we'll get some more quotes, and then we'll just do it because it's under $25,000. So interested to hear your thoughts.
So, I have some thoughts.
Our houses look at it, so we have thoughts.
Yes.
Would this go behind, there's two houses on Van Buren. This would go behind those houses?
It would, yes.
Yes, okay. You know, I guess, you know, my first thought is, we are doing obviously a ton of stuff to try and keep people out. They cut the razor wire and just
Again.
go over it. What's gonna stop them from cutting this fence and then cutting the razor wire and still going in? I mean, there comes a point where we're gonna spend all this money to keep people out. They're going to continue to go in. I don't know how far we wanna go to build, do we wanna build a concrete fence? You know, I don't know. Like, realistically, what is it costing us when people go in there?
The thing is,
And I think if, like, being worried about liability, somebody goes in there and gets hurt, somebody goes in there and dies, with everything we've done, I would imagine we would be able to say, we've done everything we can to keep people out, we're not liable for what they do once they get in, legally speaking. Do you agree with that?
It's a little more complicated than that, but no. You're not totally immune from it.
Okay.
You probably need to do something to keep people out.
Well, we definitely are doing something.
But I,
Yeah.
It's pricey,
So,
yeah.
so Chief, what's your view on the fence? Because you're the one that has to deal with the people that come in and out and put your people at risk when you're dealing with that situation, so. Sure.
I think it's a step in the right direction. To go along with what Scott's saying, though, if somebody's really, really determined, that's not to say that they can't bring some wire cutters and cut through the chain link fence. But again, it's a step in the right direction. As Phil noted, the razor wire was pushed down again just this last weekend. We ended up finding a subject with a bunch of copper wire. Fortunately, we couldn't put him there, but again, it's still happening, and it's generally the same people doing it over and over again.
So, what's
Are
your,
we prosecuting them?
It's an ordinance citation, right? And the people that we're citing aren't showing up to the ordinance court, the adjudication court, rather.
what's your view on the screening? Because there was a conversation that was had that if we put the screening up, then maybe it makes like kind of an area for them to hide behind the fence. I just wanted to know, should we go, if we choose to do the fence with the screening or without, from a law enforcement protections?
I guess my question would be is, I assume it's gonna get more and more expensive the higher you make the fence. And if we're trying to screen the view, the higher you make it, the more expensive it'll be. But again, it's all a step in the right direction in my opinion.
Am I the only one that thinks that when you put those green slats, that makes it less sightly?
Definitely more industrial.
Yeah.
With a black windscreens
The black
look
one.
better, but does that obscure your view when you're patrolling that now you can't really see if somebody's jumped over and they're running in there?
That's a possibility, and I'll just say, you guys have all been in there, I believe, or at least portions of it, and I really would not feel comfortable with the officers going through there for a host of reasons.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Can we go a step further too? And there's a lot of new technology with the trail cams, where they could report back to an email or a phone, so that we could put it up so we could actually catch the perpetrator, on footage, so it gives us more evidence. And then they could see the cams to know like, hey, it might be a bigger deterrent.
It certainly, yeah, it's a deterrent, and it would be helpful, sure. And I don't believe that the game cameras, I think is what we're talking about here, trail
Yeah.
cameras,
Yeah.
they're not terribly expensive.
No.
Or at least motion detection lights, like on the back of those houses, could be something that scares people.
Give motion detecting cameras.
I'd be interested in doing a fence with like the black. It looks a little bit nicer, but.
I was gonna go towards the motion control cameras. But my other question is maybe for, do we have enough teeth in our ordinance right now for, prosecuting people who trespass on this property and
So we'll initially cite them under our ordinance, and then we bring it to the state court, right? It's a Class A misdemeanor. So let's say that we catch them in the act, we actually are able to arrest them, we bring them to the station, we book them, we provide them a court date, they get released, and more often than not, we're never gonna see them again.
and they don't have to post bond anymore. Either.
Now, there's talks that there's like internet sites that say, hey, this is a great place to break in, there's a lot of good stuff in it. Maybe this might deter some of that too.
It could, sure.
Showing
Because
that it's
the Hager property is on that site.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I think it's gonna help keep the kids out. But the people that wanna get in are gonna get in.
Yeah.
But you should see something that shows that these people got in, whether they cut the gate open, tore up on the barbed wire. Maybe they, if they cross it, you might see it bent more, I don't know. But, and either way, we should do something.
I'm okay with doing both fencing, and I would leave it to the neighbors, the people that are adjacent to the property, and what it would look like, and then also approving cameras up to a certain amount.
I like screening and cameras, definitely. I think that's, I look out my front door and I called many times on seeing people go in there, and I'm scared. I was in there and I saw how dangerous it is, so I was in with a hard hat. But, yeah, I get nervous every time I see these kids over there, so.
On Friday, we sealed off 4 more entry points into the main white building. Chief staff had informed me that there's 4 window wells on the east side of the building that have been broken into and we're using. So we filled those up with stone on Friday, which is probably the reason why they resorted back to the lower roof over the weekend and cutting the reservoir. Because we sealed off those other 4 entry points. So it's just chasing them. They continuously break into areas that have already been boarded up, and we have to reboard those up by the south side, board up contractors.
All right. So consensus is, yeah.
Grading, fence,
What
looking
hap-
at cameras.
Actually,
Motion
I do have a
lights.
question now.
Motion
Because we're
lights.
renting this fence. We're not buying the fence.
Yep.
What happens if it does get cut? Who pays for that, to fix that?
That's a good question.
Of course, we'll have to reach out to the fence contractor.
And do they know that they're going to have to fix it maybe every week?
We
True
can look
story.
at the cost of renting versus buying, because, you know, the reality is that this is gonna be here for a few years, and we're gonna need to keep it intact, and it's likely going to suffer some damage, so we can look at the cost of both renting versus buying.
What's
And Andy
the,
was just saying, don't forget the motion lights too. Thank you.
so what is the, for the cost, is that per month, per 24 months?
For the fence?
That we're looking at right now, the 5,580?
One proposal was just under 6,000. And
Right.
another proposal came in, we have 2 proposals that have come in under 6,000. And
That's
then
pretty
one
cheap.
came in at close to 16,000.
For a year.
So is it for the year? Is, or,
Second 2, we're not certain about, I have to look into that.
all right.
Delta doesn't say.
Right, it's
Delta's
not
would be
clear to
up
me.
to 2 years. But they don't pay prevailing wages, so unfortunately, we won't be able to use that.
Mm.
We'll have to find another contractor.
Mm.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
You got enough?
All right,
Enough, thank you.
let's move on to G. Discussion regarding video gaming tournament. So when did this ordinance come down, in October of last year? It's just so we're all clear, the ordinance was brought in October, so any space when it changes owner can have games after 6 months of operating, 1 terminal per 750 square foot. Do I have that correct? Okay. So I asked to bring it to the board because we're looking at ways to spend money, or I'm sorry, to get money to get more income. And the last thing I would like to do is hinder our businesses from making money, therefore we don't make money. If we take games out of the businesses, what happens is people will go elsewhere. And when they go elsewhere, it's not just the gaming, it's the food, it's the alcohol, it's all the things that are affected. Plus, obviously, we see here of selling businesses and somebody taking over a business and having any return on investment. You know, who's gonna sink the money in to remodel a place if they're not gonna get their return on investment right away? I do know running the VFW, if we took our games, it would severely, severely hinder us. It would hinder us.
So we're not
very bad.
taking anybody's games.
Right.
That's an important note to make, because we keep talking about
Maybe
taking
it's bad
people's games.
terminology, but if
We're
they
not taking
change
anybody's
hands, if they change
So
hands,
the ordinance reads that if you sell your business, just so everybody knows, the license is not transferable. Just like an alcohol license, you cannot just sell your license. They will have to apply for a new license, whoever you sell it to, just so we all know.
That's part of the
Talking
state,
statewide or you talking village?
that's part of the
Talking
state
village.
act as well.
Yep.
That's not correct. That's not correct. That's incorrect. Absolutely incorrect.
You,
The
no,
lawyer.
yeah, the video gaming license from the state are not transferable either. It explicitly says that in the statute. You cannot sell or
That's
transfer
not
them.
correct.
I was just looking at it.
That's absolutely incorrect. So
Somebody that has 3 businesses.
state liquor licenses are transferable. You do have to apply as the individual and get your background approved. Same thing with the Illinois Gaming Board license, is transferable. You do have to apply with the Illinois Gaming Board and go through the background check. Your federal, your FEIN, if you buy a corporation, it is transferable. So I can buy an FEIN and it can be transferred. You do have to do the correct paperwork, okay, so the Illinois Secretary of State has articles of amendment, and you have to show your closing documents. So licenses are absolutely transferable.
This particular license is not governed by the Secretary of State's office, it's by the Illinois Gaming Board. In the statute, it's 230 ILCS 40/50. If you want to look it up, it's the very last line. No license issued under this act is transferable or assignable.
When they say
This
transferable,
particular-
it doesn't mean you automatically.
This particular line is not transferable. You cannot assign it, cannot be sold. It's issued to an individual person or a corporation, and it cannot be given to someone else.
And why does it happen all the time?
That's not accurate. We've done thousands
That's inaccurate.
of transfers
I
of
personally have
license.
3 that I've done this with in the last 3 years.
A video gaming license?
Correct. So I purchased a corporation that levies my review period. I have to apply, get your fingerprints, do all this stuff. Your liquor license cannot expire, and also you have to renew liquor license before it expires, and that's it. I have 3 businesses that I purchased a corporation, just like Zambonis. The games never get shut off. The ownership and the person that owns the license does change, why you get fingerprints and background checks, all that stuff. But you completely avoid the state dropping. However, your verbiage can be correct, but the bottom line is there is no delay.
Okay,
There's
well,
no 6-month delay period, you can go right into it.
that's what the
That's a
state
lo-
statute says, and also the village itself has its own license that also says it's not that is not transferable
That's
as
new
well.
to-
So
that's
there's
new to the village.
a state regulation and.
No, the 6 months is new.
a
The other
village
one wasn't
regulation.
new.
Yeah,
The
the
6
state
months
one's
was
not
new.
Even if the state one is transferable, the village one is not.
Can I ask a question? I'm a little confused. So there was an ordinance that was brought up in October, which stated from East
Can you come
Dundee.
stand
Yeah,
up?
sure.
Thank you.
So the village of East Dundee passed an ordinance in October last year that said that we're gonna now say 6-month waiting period for a new owner on a business. That wasn't pre-existing, correct?
Correct, that one was
that's
not
a new
pre-existing.
ordinance?
That was October, that was the new one, the
Okay.
6-month waiting
Okay,
period.
so it's not pre-existing in East Dundee. And this is incorrect because I've worked in the gaming business. I've owned a bar for many years in West Dundee. What your information is there, it may read that way, it might appear that way to you, but I can tell you 3 examples right here of this owner at Zambonis where they've transferred those business licenses. So your information, you're inferring that this applies to all the state. All the state is allowing this to happen. The IGB allows this to happen. I will guarantee that 100%.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Mike Morrison,
Mike.
operations
So,
manager at
So
Zambonis.
regardless of what the state does.
Right, we're not-
The Village of East Dundee has a 6-month waiting period for new businesses.
Right, which was-
And you cannot transfer gaming licenses.
Which was, what, a new ordinance in about
Only the 6 months
October.
was new, the not transfer existed already.
Okay, so, correct it.
I'm just being.
Okay,
6 months
clear.
wait was in
Yeah.
existence before October?
No, the 6 month
No,
wait.
so it is a new ordinance.
That's the new one.
And that's part of what we're addressing today, is changing your ordinances because they're not fair to businesses. Such as 1 video game per 750 square feet, such as this new, back in October,
So
rule of 6 months.
how many machines do you need to succeed?
Well, the state allows 6. I guess I could choose anywhere between
So,
0 and 6.
hold on, let me take this
So
back.
6 is
So
what the
that
state
you want?
allows.
You want 6?
I don't own the business. I'll do whatever the owners want. You want 6 machines, Brian?
Hold on.
Please.
What question we have?
This is all about the ordinance that we changed in October. This is about the 6-month wait and 1 game per 750 square foot.
Which has been in effect
Business
since
transfer is-
2022.
yeah.
Yeah, that's been in place.
So
for 3
that's
years.
what I'm bringing up, not who transfers businesses and stuff like that. That's
Correct,
for the
yes.
lawyers to deal with.
Exactly.
Today, I just want to talk about the gaming. I think it's going to affect us down the road. Anybody wanting to sell a business and start a business, it's going to affect them. And it's going to affect us ultimately. The sheet you gave me is great. It shows that.
I gave it to you,
Thank you.
and I would like to speak to
Yep.
it before you
Go
do.
ahead, go ahead.
All right, so I know that I have been involved with the board for years and years, and I think most all of the business owners know that we are pro-business. However, we also represent the residents here. We are elected by the residents here. And when you take, and I have some of this other data. I have extra sheets because I thought this was going to be a hot topic. I'm concerned for our residents. I'm concerned for the public health and welfare for our residents and the people that visit this village. When you look at, East Dundee has had 18 licenses in 2022 for a total of 102 terminals, and our revenue to the village at what, 5%? Was $367,000. And per terminal, that's $3,604 for the year. In 2023, we increased by 4 licenses to a total of 22 licenses. And 124 terminals. So then, in 23, the payout to the village per terminal was just under $3,000. So it went down. And so based on this, more terminals doesn't necessarily mean more money. It is and growing at the same rate, right? So on a 25% increase in terminals over 22 to 23, here, if you want to, you can hand, I know you guys are looking at this. There was a 0.8% increase in the revenue. And so that's multiplied for all of the owners. So adding terminals to your business, more terminals to your business, you're just going to completely continue to dilute the amount of players that are coming in to the village. Please don't interrupt me. Going to the next page.
Hey guys.
These are facts.
This is board discussion, this isn't
Yeah.
public forum, so.
Right. So, what does that mean to the residents? What does that mean to the residents? For every single terminal we have, there are 25 residents. 25? It's like, we have our own personal terminals practically in the village at this rate. So, one terminal for every 25 residents. You go down to the next village or city in our area, the next village with the closest number of terminals, 125 terminals, is South Elgin at 157 terminals. Okay? So, and so there are, when you start doing the math, East Dundee has a 528% more terminals per capita than South Elgin.
You only have 3,000 people.
I don't care. Let me finish this. I'm sorry. But you again, you interrupted me. And South Elgin has 87% more population than we do. So it's this inverse proportion where we are turning into like Las Vegas of Illinois. And you know what? I didn't move to Las Vegas of Illinois. I don't like it as a resident. I want businesses to succeed, and businesses will succeed if they have a good business plan and a good business model, and they should not be relying just on terminals. Spartan X had 6 terminals. Did they succeed? No, because it wasn't the right business model for this area. So, as someone who is representing the residents, I know this is frustrating, and I'm going to try and do everything I can to help businesses and create and foster a really good business environment for our businesses. But on this is where I stand.
So, are you finished?
Go ahead.
I actually have been a proponent of, the whole time I know we've disagreed, I'm okay with the maximum number that the state allows, and I'm okay with, I know we are 70% commercial, 30% residential, so I expect there's gonna be more commercial and more machines. I'm okay with not even having the 6-month waiting period, and I think I said that last year as well. I understand that food costs, liquor costs are higher, and it costs more to own a business. And so if this is something that helps with selling, or if it helps with money, I'm fine with it. So I actually am okay with no waiting period and 6 games and not doing a spatial thing. People can choose if they want to go there or not, if it's too many games or not. There's other establishments that don't have them, and that's, I think, free choice. But someone that puts money into their business, I don't like telling them what to do that much. You put the money and you invested it. You should make the choice, not me. That's my stance.
Yeah, we had, just to rewind as to how we got to last October's vote, is we had a lot of different businesses, even gas stations, coming in saying, we want as many possible video gaming machines and terminals as we can. We were seeing a huge trend in our town topping the charts as having the most, and we have a limited amount of downtown space, and seeing some bars replacing tables and chairs with as many consoles as they could get, because they do pay out more than a table does. But we wanted to stop that trend and have it be known for a culinary district, that we compete based on the food and the service and the quality, and not have, I think we are trying to weed out video gaming cafes, because we didn't want to see, that is the most lucrative business you could put in our downtown, but that's not what we want, is all gaming cafes. So we did also look at the numbers, and it doesn't feel great that each year, or just last year alone, residents and visitors to the establishments lost almost $8 million overall. So to subsidize restaurants or gaming cafes with the loss of people's money who can't afford to lose it but are trying to make more money, and they don't. I mean, each venue makes a lot of money, and I totally understand, and we want to curb it by having a balance of some of that revenue coming in, but not such a huge influx that $8 million is being drained from our community each year, 60% of which leaves our community going to the operator in the state. I know the venue and the village gets a cut. We get 5% of those revenues. So something we're trying to do, or at least I'm trying to do, is to have transparency on how much money is lost, because if we're making money off of this, that I want it to be very clear to people playing how much you're probably going to lose on that, and not build so much of a business plan that counts on the losses of the patrons in order for the business to work. Because we do have businesses that choose not to, and they have been open and they are doing fine. So it's not, and we are more competitive towards inviting video gaming than a lot of the towns around us, or now we're more on average, was what we looked around and surveyed, staff pulled from every suburb nearby, and then set our rules to be competitive with the average of those. So the only thing that we were really wanting to not do is have it be a new set of rules, and every time someone comes in, we just give the exception, and now we don't have rules. We just are rolled back to exactly where we were, just to give some background and my perspective on the issue.
With the 8 million though, it's consumers' free will to spend their money how they want, and I think if they're choosing to do that and they get some enjoyment out of it, then who are we to say, oh, you lost your money? No, I spent it. That's different.
People can go play lotto at the gas station. There's people that spend a lot more on lotto than video gaming, and video gaming is everywhere. It's around us. I mean, you see right here, it's in all the towns around us, and we should not put a chokehold on our businesses here to try to make up some. I mean, you're showing this statistic here, but we have more games per capita. We're a small town, like you said, with 3,000 people. We have more gas stations per capita than the city of Chicago. We have more hair salons per capita. We have more bars and restaurants per capita. So it's what we are. And to try to shun that after this is what we are, and try to chokehold our businesses and try to keep new businesses from coming in and investing in our community is just asinine.
Okay, do you have anything, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I keep going back to the fact that, for instance, the Mockingbird doesn't have machines. They're expanding. They're doing so well, doubling their size. So
Scott, real quick,
Yes, Ron.
sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, go ahead.
A lot of fine dining establishments all over Chicagoland area, state of Illinois, they don't do gaming machines. They do fine dining, they have high-end cocktails, they have, you know, they have $18, $22 cocktails.
And Ryan, you work for Gold Rush, is that right?
Yeah,
Correct.
you do.
Okay, so obviously you want gaming because it
Sure.
benefits you financially. So I understand that, but we have to look out for everybody, not just vendors.
Not the vendors, the businesses in town here.
Yeah, they're, well, vendors, restaurants. The 6-month waiting period, the reason that came about was, you know, we felt we wanted restaurants that could survive based on their quality, based on their service. And so it's a 6-month waiting period to make sure you have a viable business and you're not only succeeding because you have this supplement of gaming. That's the point of it, just so we all know. I guess as far as the square footage rules go, you know, I could see changing that. What I'd want to know, I guess, is we have all these businesses now that have, we have businesses that have 6, we have businesses that have 4 and 5. And I guess I'd want to know, those are all grandfathered in, but I'd want to know what
they
they
go to sell.
qualify for if they were to sell, I guess. You know, I'd just be curious about that before we change that. I think that maybe instead of saying we're gonna change the square footage, maybe we could institute a minimum. Say like, you know, you can, no matter what, you can have 3 machines, whatever we decide, and then you start counting on the square footage. I'd be open to that idea. But I think Andy's also right that, you know, there's a cost to this. There's a social cost to this. You know, maybe if we're gonna loosen these regulations, maybe we could put a sticker on the machines or something that says, you know, these machines pay out 75 to 80% of what you put in, period. That's on average, obviously. Do we wanna do that? Do we wanna have that level of transparency to our machines? Or
I
just?
do like the
Legally,
idea
can we
of
do
letting
that?
people
So
know.
I'd have to look into that.
Can we, yeah,
What's that?
so for the sake of transparency on people that are approaching these,
Yeah.
only 76% of what's played is, you know, played in this machine is paid out.
Yeah, I can
The
look at
rest
that.
goes to the state and to the operators and.
I honestly don't think the people that are gonna play for entertainment care
Right.
that.
Also,
don't-
I would say-
wouldn't see
There are
that.
people that play for entertainment, there are also people that play because they're addicted.
And you're not
Yeah,
gonna
and we have a
change
bunch
their
of
mind.
bars and restaurants, and they're addicted to there too.
I
Like,
know.
as a
I'm
therapist,
just
I'm like,
saying,
I
they can go
can't
down to
regulate everybody
Grand
and their
Victoria,
behaviors.
Anybody.
or Rivers.
Again, we're not getting rid of gaming machines. We have
No,
more gaming
no.
machines than anybody in the area, and we are not saying you can't have gaming machines. Nobody's saying that.
Right.
So, you know, we're not saying, that's, all we're saying is, you know, we have some regulation. It's not gaming anarchy.
And I also think the state does a lot of its own regulating, and they have the number, like, I'm okay with, like, why don't we do what the state does?
So when I first came on board here, I was asked about what my view was on these gaming machines, and I really didn't have one. Never really thought about it much. Would go to a bar, put some money in it here and there. But some interesting information came to us. One of the interesting pieces is I wasn't aware that some of these were only paying out 70%, 71%. And I wouldn't put money in a machine knowing that. I always assumed that they made money and that we would share responsibility of somebody pays in and somebody gets it out of it. and the owner of the machine would make a little bit off the top. But 70%, we have one of them that's 71% that pays out. We only have a couple that are up to 80%. That's a huge amount of money that people are paying to use this machine. And there's really no skill set to it. And we just had a discussion 2 weeks ago where we talked about home ownership and how hard it is to have home ownership and what we're doing with our community to get homes that can be purchased. And when you break down $8 million in 1 year, you're looking at 24 houses that could have been here, that people could have owned. So it is a huge cost to society. I do think that people make bad decisions on their own, but I do think a level of transparency would help in this case so that somebody like me, who probably won't use them anymore after seeing the low rate of low payout rate, it would be useful to see that. I don't know of any businesses so far that have gone under the new rules. Have we had any go under the new rules?
We haven't had any change hands except for,
One right here.
yeah, this is Zambonis.
La Mariscara decided not to renew, but that was for their own separate financial reasons.
Okay.
I have a question. Would you have bought this bar and invested in this community if you knew you could only have 2 machines?
No, you couldn't, because again, I know it's not a public forum, but if I can say one thing, it's about the way this business end of it goes, the banking and gaming, how we all look at it. Can I speak for a second?
Yeah, well,
He asked you the
trustee
question.
asked you a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think everybody can understand what you guys are saying. It's not an issue. Us babysitting or being parents of somebody else, we understand that we probably wouldn't have a culinary district as a bar district. I mean, I'm sure there's, the data for domestic violence, drunk driving comes out of every one of these bars, and no one's has a moral code on that. So we know that things aren't morally necessarily, someone should put money in, they may lose the money, they choose to. The problem is this is the landscape we're in, this is the scope of the business model you're in. So for that to change over could take a decade. Meaning is, like a new person like me who came in, who purchased the place prior to this ordinance changing, and it changing after the fact, when I had to present all the numbers to the SBA, which is the per capita, square footage, gaming in the area, all these things go into your loan, okay, go into the valuation of the business, okay? I mean, I purchased money for the corporation for that exact purpose. So, yes, for a while until someone sells, which we're gonna have a really tough time doing. Because again, you guys understand something, this district is a quaint district. The problem is there's not enough square footage. And in business, at the end of the day, it comes down to numbers, and we can talk numbers all day long. I can stay up here for hours. It's price per square foot. There's only so much you can make. Unless you want to have a flood in every bar, then jam tables or standing room, you can't, fights and everything else. I operate multiple businesses. I came here for the investment, not because it was grandfathered in. No one gave me the business. I don't have any, there's nothing here. You have to understand that you can only make so much. Most of these businesses are 1,500 square feet, 2,000 square feet, 2,500 square feet. There's only a couple that would even be able to qualify for those 6 machines. I don't know of any. I don't even think Banditos have 6 machines because you can't use outside square footage. So what you're going to run into is that everyone that's invested all these years in these businesses and built up the evaluation is going to be completely taken away from them. Everything they've done to build that business up, to show revenue reports, everything, when they go to sell that, you are robbing it from them. And you're robbing the town from someone coming back in. Now, how much you make from gaming, you can make 0 from gaming as a village, but you're bringing in the district, you're bringing in the people, you're bringing in the liquor, the businesses that come in. It's a hum that you have to do. It's synergistic. It can't be a direct revenue source necessarily for the village, but it's a direct revenue source for the community of the district, okay? You probably will rarely ever have, just like Spartan Axe Throwing is a failing company that I bought. Okay, there's no success there. It was ran horribly. Only reason I bought it is because of the community. I could have bought anywhere else. So that's the kind of hum you have right now with East Dundee. That's not going to happen if this goes away. You're going to have vacant buildings. And what happens when you have vacant buildings, you start looking like a vacant downtown area, the vibrance goes away. Now, be it you believe in the vibrance of liquor, dancing, eating, that may not be what you personally believe in, but that's what it is. So you'd have to change the scope of your entire business model. More retail, more boutiques, things like this. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, this is the landscape, but just understand on the business end of it, it's not going to be a choice anymore. people will not be able to purchase in this area because there's not enough revenue to be made in a 2,000 square foot bar anymore. Not with $25 an hour workers, and it's not possible. The gaming, and again, on your point, the gaming numbers are down everywhere, year over year. So when you still, they're down year over year everywhere, so that's an accurate way to look at it, but you're still counting on what you have. So if you did take away those machines, you would be making less than you're already making. So you're taking someone's machines in a downward market, which multiplies the issue even more. And again, is what stonewalls people trying to buy more businesses, which you don't ever want to do because it's a lively town area, you know? So,
All right, we got
thank
our,
you.
yeah, thank you. All right.
I agree with that statement of when people start moving out, you start to lose the vibrancy. It's what happens to malls, and they do go to the wayside. People feed off each other's businesses. I guess what I would like to see on this is how can we get the payouts higher, and how can we increase transparency so someone like myself could be like, I'm not going to use their machine, I'm going to go next door where the payout is 80%. This one's only 71%. And what can we do to incentivize business to raise the payout so it's not just a complete removal of funds from our neighbors?
Just so you understand, every game in the state of Illinois is regulated by the Illinois Gaming Board.
Mhm.
There are no, you can't go to River Lee's and have a better person, he can't set his games tighter. They're all regulated by the state of Illinois. Every game is the same. So what happens is over time, you know, there's ups and downs, just like any casino. So these are not regulated by the location or the terminal operator. And then I heard somebody say something about transparency with problem gambling. The state of Illinois takes problem gambling very seriously. If you look at any Illinois Gaming Board meeting, one of their topics every time is problem gambling. Every location has a sign or two. If you know a problem gambler, if you have a problem gambling, here's a number to call. We'll get you help. So the state is all over problem gambling.
Is there any?
Sure.
Is that something that your terminals or any terminals could let somebody opt themselves out and say, I have a gambling problem, here's my ID or card, don't let me play?
It's one of the things that the state, and again, this is way above municipality or county or terminal operator or location. The state has been working on solutions like that. And if you're ever bored and you want to waste a couple hours of your life, watch a couple of Illinois Gaming Board meetings.
I've been to one of their sessions.
They
I am
talk
out.
about it at every meeting.
Well, yeah, I noticed that I was doing research to see, can you, and online it'll say, yeah, you just call the casino or go in and they'll put you on the blackout list, but that doesn't affect the video game terminal, so
Right.
I know for a casino there's that option. I'm wondering if there's some kind of option like that in the system that you could opt out, but it doesn't sound
There
like
is
there
not
is.
yet, the state has not
Right.
implemented that.
Precisely. So, one point I need to push back on the comment that was made earlier, is that, you know, there's the drunken driving and traffic accidents and stuff like that, and that the alcohol use is not regulated. That is not true. All of the bartenders are Bassett trained and are trained to cut off people when they know that they've consumed too much alcohol, but there isn't anything like that, to your point, Ryan, for video gaming and video terminals, and that's fine. People can go in and do what they need to do, but to say that it's not regulated is not.
All right.
It's not monitored is not true.
So I brought this up because I want, first off, we don't have the most in the area. We have the most per capita, but Hoffman Estates has more, Elgin, Carpentersville, West Dundee does not.
Right, and you can take a look at their populations.
When I was walking around knocking on doors, we have 3,100 residents, and not one of them complained about too many games inside of a business. Not one of them said anything like that. Right now, we have the businesses pretty much established. There's not a lot of open land.
Did anyone say that they need more?
They said that we need more money.
No. They say they don't want gaming?
No. But we have already footprints of the buildings. For example, we have River Lee's, we have Calendo's, we have all these bars. And if they change hands and somebody wants to redo it, now we're gonna take games out that are currently in. They're already in the buildings. It's not like we're having new buildings built and putting some in. Yes, if we have issues with cafes, we can regulate them. But I feel like we're taking them out when we really shouldn't have. And yes, we are here for the residents, but why are we punishing our residents for a handful of people that might be abusing their own income and spending their income? So now we're telling the residents, we're gonna drop your $370,000 per, obviously this is just gaming and we're not losing all of our gaming, but you're also losing the food, the alcohol. When Calendo's was shut down for those few months, that really changed things. I know for a fact because the VFW, and I could probably pull those numbers, our gaming went up and our sales went up because there was nowhere else for those guys to go. So they came to us, they went to Carroll's, they went to River Lee's. So it does affect when you shut down games and you take them out. I know my wife and I personally have walked into places, if there was everybody on them, we turned around and we walked out. So we did have that. But people are going to gamble. You're going to have people abuse it. But again, how can we regulate it? I don't know that we can. To me, I think we should go right back and follow the state rules on this. And why handcuff our businesses, especially the ones that already have them in and saying, oh, if you sell it, all we're doing right now is telling people to sell, well, just sell 99% of your business and have 1% of it still the owner. And now we're just sharing the business, right? Because because now we're co-owners. So that's kind of what you're telling people. So.
And I am Bassett trained and I do bartend, I help out. And we want people to not leave the bar drunk and harm themselves or harm someone else. If you use a machine and leave, that's not the same concern. So I see what you're saying, Kathleen, but I think that that's a little bit of apples and oranges.
It might be if that person just put all their mortgage into the machine.
I
Can't feed their
understand
child.
that, but they can spend their money doing all
Being
sorts
drunk
of
is
other
temporary
things.
if you bankrupt yourself.
They could.
All right, I just wanted to add.
can go to Grand
That's
Victoria.
addiction,
All right, let's-
that's there anyway. If
All
they
right,
have it,
so
they have it.
just to recap a little bit here, I'm trying to get us to what is the problem that we're trying to solve? There's a lot of tangents here, and that was the crux of the issue before us tonight. Just to add some context, the reason that we put the moratorium in place from 23 to 24 was because staff was being inundated with requests to put gaming cafes and other gaming establishments in town everywhere. So they were added to the gas stations. Now we have 2 gaming cafes in a single strip mall on 68. And the new strip mall that was built out at Palumbo's has 5 storefront spaces. And we were hoping to cultivate restaurants, drive-throughs, coffee, food, something that could serve the many trucks that go in and out of that place. And I'm not kidding you, 20 different calls to put gaming cafes in there. Right now, 2 of those 5 spaces are filled, one with the coffee shop, one with the Mexican restaurant. There's been a lot of inquiries for a host of different types of businesses out there because it's a very great space. But we could have had 5 different gaming cafes in that one plaza. And if that's what we want as a community, that's fine. But at some point along the road, the village board said, we would like to cultivate more variety. We would like to provide different amenities. And so therefore, we want to put some kind of regulations in place so that we have different options. And honestly, Foxy's is the newest restaurant bar to come to downtown. They came to us. They said, what's the maximum gaming machines we can get? We want to pack in as many as we can. And we said the number is probably 1 or 2. Do you still want to open? And they said, absolutely. We love this environment. We think we can make a go of it. We're still going to do it. So they opened and they are successful, and that's great. And I'm not saying that that's going to be across the board the experience, but we also have 3 storefront spaces that we're selling in the parking garage. And what do we want those to be? We've talked about retail, we've talked about some kind of gelato shop, we've talked about popcorn, like all of these different types of businesses. Those businesses are going to have a really hard time competing with somebody who can pay a higher rent per square foot if they want to do some kind of gaming cafe in there. So I understand everybody's perspective, and there's been a lot of passion put into this over the 3.5 years I've worked for this village. We've talked about this at a village board meeting not less than 5 or 6 times, and there's always a compromise to be found. But what is the issue that we're trying to solve today? Nobody has told us my business is going to go under if you don't let me transfer my license today. So I don't think that's the issue we're trying to solve today. We can continue to evaluate that issue and see if that is something that needs to be solved. But like I said, that's not the issue that's before us today. What I can ascertain right now is the issue before us today is that we have one establishment that wants more games than they're currently allotted for a rule that's been on the books since 2022. So I'm not sure how much longer you want to allocate to this discussion this evening.
Would you like to see
but-
the?
Can I?
Incorrect, you have one, and you just mentioned Foxy's, so that's 2.
Fox is not complete. And Tequila Bells is.
Did the policy change last year, October?
And then, Fred, at some point, you'd like to sell your bar, I'm assuming.
Like what I was
You're not
saying,
getting any younger.
that's not the problem we're trying to solve today. because
No, it
there's
is. We're
ways
looking,
that this
because
can
these
happen.
people, their businesses are devalued.
But
So
that's what you're saying, that they haven't actually spoke to an attorney, done any due diligence, or decided
Well,
that they're
they
not gonna be
know.
able to sell for the price that they think they should sell for.
100%, because other people are watching what's happening to Brian over there, okay, and they're not gonna invest if they think that's gonna happen to them. So Fred can't get what he thinks his bar is worth. Tony Calendo can't get what he thinks his bar is worth. Jamie and Gary can't get what they think their bar is worth.
Correct.
It's a problem. You're devaluing.
And I would rather bite it in the butt
I do
now or
think-
next meeting than continue going down this, because this is gonna continue to be something that our business owners are gonna come to, and ultimately, it does affect our citizens.
Carol's Corner, Carol's at Memory Care. At some point, her heirs would like to sell her bar. Okay, so we're devaluing the current businesses right now, today. That's what's at hand.
Everybody comes here because they love this entertainment, and
This-
I don't hear people saying, you got too many games, we don't want games.
As far as in current loans, like he said, he got a loan based on what it was making, that was
What the
factored
valuation
in,
is.
you know, and so that's something that I'll say I didn't even think about, and I'm like, yeah.
The question
that
really
sucks.
is
I don't like that.
I highly doubt that the loan that was given was based on 2 terminals versus 5 terminals. It had to do with the area, the state of the building, what the rehab would cost, all that other kind of stuff. It's not solely on this, and right now we're placing
No
it
one said that.
solely on.
Part of it, not solely, but.
No one said solely.
Yeah, it's a
There's an approval, there's no approval, there's no in between, so you have enough money to build, or they'll borrow you money, or there's not. I don't know how many like own businesses, but it's either you're approved or not approved. And it's either, this is your nut, this is your mortgage, this is your payroll, this is your square footage, this is what you can generate, and this is what, the banks should look at your risk factor. The problem is, I don't know if you guys, again, you guys own businesses, the banks require a competitive analysis of the market area. Okay, so this is one thing everybody's forgetting, is all the current businesses like mine that's new will be behind the 8 ball. Because right now, they're not selling their bars. So I'll be the only bar in town that has 2 machines or option that be. So until this decade goes, everyone sells their businesses, you're not only hurting, you're hurting the new business, because if everyone only had 3 machines, that'd be a different story, right? Or 2 machines, or 1 machine. But it's not like today, that all existing businesses all have to align with the same.
All right.
I'm having to abide by rules that are different than everybody else.
We
But I'm
spent-
investing because that's as much money.
We spent a lot of time on this. I'm going to end it by just saying we are all here for ultimately our citizens. The money that comes in helps our citizens, it helps the infrastructure here. Do we want to keep cutting money out? And that's what we're essentially doing. We're going to keep cutting money out. Eventually, it's going to taper off, and we're going to have a lot less money. That's my opinion. So
I
let's
also
move
didn't hear
on.
any citizens here tonight
Complain.
against gaming. Unless,
Right.
unless I'm wrong. That nobody,
I think that's a good.
no residents spoke out against gaming. This has been on the agenda.
I think that's worth bringing up, and if we are going, we do represent the residents, the people who are putting money into the machines. We also represent the bars who are taking that money. I'd rather ask the community in some sort of survey to say, this is your downtown, do you want it to go in a different direction? I know that we did our own informal asking around during the last time, but asking the community and not just the random sample of people in the room would guide my decision on that.
I agree.
Is that something we can send out to the community?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
I'm sorry, I spoke for you, but we've
Yes.
done it before
Yes.
on lots of other things.
That's all right.
We held a whole forum for Hager.
All right,
you
let's,
know, and there were a lot of really positive things that were brought about by that conversation, and
let's move on to staff reports. Since you're already talking, trustee Mahoney, you got anything?
you're like, shut up. Chris is not here, but I would like to make sure we put forth the sign ordinance that we have with the prohibition of banners on buildings for extended periods of time. There is a business on Route 25, I'll tell you who it is privately, that has a tarp banner up for gaming along with another sign, and there's only supposed to be one sign on that facade or that plane of the building. And so either put up a permanent sign for gaming, I just said that, you guys, or figure out how we get to the one sign. Also, the mural looks great. Congratulations to the Arts Council. Had a great time speaking with Kate on that. Andy can attest to on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to a really great event on Saturday, and working with Caleb and Kate on getting coloring pages for the kids while they're waiting and to take home or whatever, to take a little bit something home. That's all I had.
Okay, trustee Eckman?
Yeah, so I wanted to bring up, we did the Q&A with Brinshaw 2 weeks ago, and I was really looking forward to hearing some questions answered, but it took kind of a strange format where Brinshaw really didn't answer any questions. So I'd really like to see if we could set up something maybe in a different format where people could submit questions, maybe anonymously or whatever it is, so that they ask the questions that they're concerned about with the actual project itself. I know there was quite a few people that were against it, and I understand that, and I respect their opinions, but I do know that people were uncomfortable asking really anything because it just became a certain type of a conversation. So I'd like to see if we could do something maybe electronically or something like that where questions can be submitted about just different parts of it, site, whatever it may be, facade, anything of that matter, which I thought was going to be more of the direction of the Q&A. So that is what I'd hope we can facilitate somehow. And then we were talking a lot about businesses and how much we care about them, and I know that's why I live here, is because of our downtown, how cool it is. So there's a business in this area. It's a larger business that came recently, and it's really a building that hosts a lot of smaller businesses. So it's the Elgin Mall, and I was in there last week, and there's new federal regulations, and there's a lot of pressure being put on to that mall, and it's becoming very hurt by it. It was almost like a ghost town inside, and when I was talking with one of the vendors, they asked, we were communicating on what we can do as a village to help get them through these hard times, and he was asking for a sign possibly that he could put up for his restaurant, because people don't equate that mall with his type of restaurant, so that people passing by could buy his chicken or whatever it may be. And I just kind of want to maybe bring it up for discussion at some point of what we can do to help them in that very strange situation, because they don't have storefronts like we see in the downtowns, and the basis of their business has been really affected by the federal administration. So that was the two things. So.
All right. Trustee Coonsey?
No report.
So, the Arts Council had, at our last meeting, I'll say, we talked about, Jason Nowinski and Don Brunker that did all the photos inside the lumberyard and inside of Hager, to talk to Dolores Doderline to get her stories so that the Arts Council can foster and maybe help sponsor a coffee table book for East Dundee with some of Dolores's stories along with her stuff. That's in there, so that is underway right now. So they've already met with her and they started the ball rolling on that. And so we're gonna start with the lumberyard. Once we get that published and out, we're gonna work on Hager next with some of the history and everything there. So
Is
we're,
that something they're gonna sell?
yes,
That would be cool.
yes. So
Can we get her song in there?
audio, press a button.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is it with Phil? Leo?
I'm sorry?
Is it with Phil Leo? Or are we just duplicating stuff that Phil's done already?
No, we're doing it with the photos that were taken, the artistic photos
More
in
visual.
the lumberyard. It's more visual
I
with,
see.
with a specific
Okay.
story
I
that goes
understand.
along with it from Dolores.
That'd be cool.
Mhm.
Got it. That is not
Yeah.
Phil's.
Just saw that?
Yeah.
Another art update, for those who don't know, there's murals happening right now along that fence by Duke's Barbecue. There's 6 in a row, plus a community space, so we have 6 very talented local artists from the area who are working right now on putting their murals up, and then Saturday show up, bring kids. You'll be allowed to paint the middle area. There's kind of a historical comic book area that's just lines to fill in with paint, so it's engineered to have the community come out and interact with it.
All right, trustee Gilman?
Just 2 things. In the last events, well, actually, we talked, Tricia and I talked with a couple business owners who had expressed interest in doing more Thirsty Thursdays next year. Just something to throw out there, looking for input from residents, businesses, staff, village board. So it's something we had talked about. If anyone has
More than our one a month.
More than one a
more
month.
than one a month.
So are they saying go along earlier and later, or just more
Add
than
more.
1 month?
Add more.
More events, we're saying?
Add more like Thursdays instead of once a month, like add more and even
Could
maybe
you
go
tag
a
it
month
on to
later.
like a Wednesday and a Thursday, so that way you don't have multiple setups, you can just set it up one time and
That's-
it's 2 nights in a row and then take it down.
What, one of the things we're looking for input for, plus also hopefully with the addition of the band shell next season, we'd have less cost than renting a stage and sound and putting that up and down. And so if it's cost effective, that's something we were talking about, so just wanted to throw that out there. And then the other thing was the 110 Railroad Street proposal looked beautiful. So, I don't know if everyone else saw that and has any thoughts, but that's where I'm at. That's all I
Chief?
got.
No report.
Bill? Brandon?
I do have 2 things. We just finalized our audit, which you guys will, have a report by our auditors at the next board meeting. And then we're in our budget process, so if we have any budget items, now's the best time to get those to us so that we can try to incorporate them as much as possible.
Can I get an offer? All right, Joe?
No report.
Franco?
We're gonna publish on Facebook, our website, and a special e-newsletter tomorrow that Flood Brothers is going to be picking up refuse and recycling 1 hour earlier due to the extreme heat that we're supposed to have on Wednesday. With the understanding that if residents miss it or they come out and collect before the resident normally puts out, Flood will come back and accommodate that resident for the missed pickup.
Kelsey?
No report.
Erica?
No report.
Just a couple things. I met up with Representative Ness at her coffee talk, and then we did her, showed her the garage today, trying to build up relationships with some people in the area. It was good. It was interesting. She was also talking about some of the taxes that we have to, that the state is imposing because of the battery-operated cars, electric cars. I met with some businesses here in the historical district that are kind of concerned about the Wind Down Wednesdays, Thirsty Thursdays, and the car shows that we're doing, and that we're bringing other businesses in that aren't directly affected by it. So they're concerned. Like tonight's a perfect example. It's a car show, and we have two taco places right next to each other. It makes like no sense. And they're the ones that are affected. Is our businesses right down here. Car shows are great. I know from the VFW we don't get any business from them. So the car shows are nice for the public, but we're really shortening our businesses from getting any sort of people going in and frequenting them during the car show, because there's really limited parking with that too. I know we got the parking garage, but to me, I think we should start looking at just having the vendors that are directly affected by our events, and that's the ones in our historical district. That's my opinion. Other than that, that's all. Oh wait, should we talk about gaming? Kidding.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding. Yes, and then we, I think with that, we're gonna close. I need a motion to close, to go to the executive session for talking about personnel, I believe, right? C1.
And C21 as well.
C21 as well?
C21 as well?
Yes.
I'll move to close to the public and media under provisions of the Illinois Open Meetings Act, 5 ILCS 120-2 C21. Discussion of minutes, and C1 personnel and legal counsel. And we will be closing directly out of closed session and not reconvening in open session.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
No, do a roll call.
I'm sorry, executive
Yeah.
session. Trustee Saviano?
Yes.
Trustee Coonsey? Yes. Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Oakland?
Yes.
Trustee Guma?
Yes.
And Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
Take 5?
5-minute recess?
Yeah, I gotta use that.